Hi, I'm Oraline. 3 weeks ago, I woke up to 14 missed calls from my family. 14. That's more than they'd called me in the past 3 years combined. But we'll get to that. Because before we talk about why they suddenly needed me, we need to talk about the night I stopped existing to them entirely. Before we dive in, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Like you're there, but not really there? Drop a comment because maybe you'll see yourself in this story, or maybe you'll just be glad your family isn't like mine. It was a Thursday evening around 8:30, the kind of evening where the heat from the day still clings to everything, making the air inside the house feel thick and hard to breathe. I was standing in the doorway between the kitchen and the living room, holding a mug of chamomile tea I'd microwaved twice because I kept forgetting to drink it. My parents sat on opposite ends of their oversized cream sectional, the one my mom had spent 3 months picking out because it needed to photograph well. And there, perfectly positioned in the center like she was born to be there, was my sister, Serafina. She had her ring light set up, the kind that costs $200 and makes everyone look like they're glowing from within. Her phone was propped on a mini tripod, and she was mid-live stream with what looked like maybe 300 viewers. I couldn't hear what she was saying because she had her AirPods in, but I could see her smile, the one she'd perfected over 75,000 followers worth of content. Bright, effortless, camera-ready. My parents watched her like she was performing surgery, nodding at the right moments, smiling when she smiled. My mother even had her own phone out, screenshotting moments to repost later with captions like, "So proud of my girl," with 3 heart emojis. I hadn't been mentioned once in the past hour, but that wasn't surprising. I'd gotten good at blending into the background of my own family. Sometimes I wondered if the walls noticed me more than they did. Then, everything shifted. Serafina's laptop screen flickered, just once, but enough to make her smile crack. Her eyes darted to the side, and I saw her jaw tighten. She kept talking to the camera, but her voice had that slight edge to it, the one that meant something was wrong, and she was trying very hard to pretend it wasn't. Another flicker. The screen went black for a full 2 seconds. "Not now, not now, not now," she muttered under her breath, but the AirPods were out now and we could all hear her. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, clicking, typing, clicking again. The live stream was still running on her phone, but her laptop, the one that controlled the overlays, the comment feed, the stuff that made her look professional, was dying. "Are you serious right now?" she said to the screen, like it could hear her and would apologize. I took a sip of my tea. It was lukewarm and tasted like floral dishwater, but I didn't move. Didn't offer to help. I'd learned a long time ago that offering help to Serafina only made things worse. She tried restarting the laptop. Waited. The screen stayed black. That's when her head turned toward me. Not slowly, not thoughtfully. Fast, like a reflex. "Oh my God," she said, her voice jumping half an octave. "Why does this always happen when you're around?" I blinked, set my mug down on the kitchen counter behind me. "What?" "Every single time something goes wrong, you're just standing there, watching, like you want things to crash." I felt my face flush, the way it does when you've been accused of something so absurd that your body doesn't know whether to laugh or defend itself. "Serafina, I'm literally just standing here." "Exactly." She gestured at me like I'd just confessed to a crime. "You stress me out just by breathing, Oraline. You throw off my entire vibe." I looked at my mother, waiting for her to say something. Anything. Tell Serafina she was being ridiculous. That blaming me for a laptop malfunction was insane. But my mother stood up, brushing invisible lint off her linen pants, and said in that calm, measured voice she used when she wanted to sound reasonable, "She's not wrong, Oraline." I felt the air leave my lungs. My mother continued, not looking at me, but at the space just past my shoulder. "Every time something good is happening for Serafina, you find a way to ruin it. You've been doing it since you were kids." I opened my mouth, closed it, tried again. "I didn't do anything." "You don't have to," my mother said softly. "It's just your energy. You've ruined her focus. Honestly, you've ruined all of ours." Serafina nodded, arms crossed, vindicated. I looked at my father. Ronan Anderson, 56 years old, a man who used to sell enterprise software and now spent his days applying to jobs that never called him back. He sat there rubbing the bridge of his nose like this conversation was exhausting him. Like I was exhausting him. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. The silence said everything. I felt something inside me go very still. Not angry, not sad, just still, like a door closing quietly at the end of a long hallway. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I didn't defend myself or argue or beg them to see how insane this was. I just turned around and walked down the hall. The guest bedroom they'd let me stay in while I figured things out was at the end of the house, past the laundry room and the bathroom no one used because the sink leaked. The door didn't close properly. It stuck on the frame and you had to lift and push at the same time. The carpet smelled faintly of dust and some floral air freshener that had expired years ago, leaving behind only the chemical base notes. I moved quietly, robotically. I pulled my old college backpack out of the closet, a faded gray JanSport I hadn't touched since I'd moved back 8 months ago, after my roommate situation fell apart and I'd had nowhere else to go. I stuffed in a few changes of clothes, underwear, socks, my phone charger, toothbrush, deodorant, my laptop. I didn't pack anything sentimental. No framed photos, no cards, no letters. I'd stopped writing letters years ago when I realized no one read them. 15 minutes later, I had everything I needed, which, as it turned out, wasn't much. I walked back down the hall. Serafina's live stream was still going. I could hear her laughing now, the crisis apparently over. My parents were still in the living room. No one looked up when I passed. I opened the front door, stepped outside, closed it behind me. No one asked where I was going. No one asked if I'd be back. The street was quiet, the kind of suburban North Carolina quiet where you can hear sprinklers running 3 houses down and someone's TV playing Wheel of Fortune through an open window. I walked 2 blocks to the gas station on the corner, the one with the flickering fluorescent lights that buzzed like dying insects. I bought a granola bar and a bottle of water, not because I was hungry, just out of habit. Something to do with my hands. The clerk was a kid, maybe 19, scrolling on his phone. I asked him if the bus was still running this late. He glanced at the clock on the wall. Last one's in 8 minutes, if he's on time. He wasn't. But I waited anyway. I sat on the cold metal bench outside, backpack between my legs like a lifeboat, hands shoved deep in my jacket pockets, even though it wasn't that cold. I stared at the pavement, at the oil stains and the flattened gum and the little bits of gravel that had worked their way into the cracks. When the bus finally showed up, 12 minutes late, not 8, I climbed on without looking back, paid with the crumpled $5 bill I'd had in my pocket, found a seat near the back. The ride into downtown Charlotte felt longer than it was. I kept my head down, watching the city lights blur past the window like smudged paint. No one made eye contact. It was almost a comfort. When we reached the end of the line, I got off and walked 3 blocks to a motel I'd seen once from a different bus route, the Sunrise Inn. A name that promised something it definitely didn't deliver. It was small. Beige. The neon sign out front said, vacancy, but the V was flickering, so it mostly just said, A-ANSY, which felt about right. The man at the front desk didn't look up from his TV when I walked in. He had a reality show playing, something with a lot of yelling and dramatic music. Cash or card? He mumbled. Cash. I handed over $42, everything I had left after the bus and the granola bar and the months of being too broke to save anything while living under my parents' roof and being told I wasn't contributing enough. He handed me a key attached to a plastic tag with a room number scratched off and rewritten in Sharpie. Checkouts at 11. No smoking, no guests. Got it. Room 12 was at the far end of the building, past a vending machine that hummed ominously and a window that was covered in cardboard instead of curtains. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. It smelled like old cigarettes and cleaning fluid that didn't quite mask anything. The bedspread was a geometric pattern in browns and oranges that probably hadn't been in style since 1987. The TV was bolted to the dresser. There was a water stain on the ceiling shaped like something I couldn't quite identify. Maybe a continent, maybe just water damage. I dropped my backpack by the bed and sat down on the edge of the mattress. It creaked, loud. I didn't undress, didn't turn on the TV. Just sat there, staring at the water stain, trying to decide if it looked more like a broken heart or a burned-out star depending on how I tilted my head. My phone was face down on the nightstand. I hadn't checked it since I left. Part of me was hoping, expecting, to see something. A text, a call, even just a "Where are you?" But when I finally picked it up, the screen was empty except for one notification. Reminder. Unopened Mother's Day gift from Aureline. Delivered May 2024. A calendar reminder I'd set 2 years ago and never deleted. I'd sent my mother a gift that year. Spent a week's worth of grocery money on a pair of silk handkerchiefs, the expensive kind, with her initials monogrammed in gold thread. I wrapped them in tissue paper and wrote a card about how much I appreciated her and how I hoped we could be closer. She never opened it. I saw it once, months later, sitting in the back of her closet still in the shipping box. When I asked her about it, she said, "Oh, I've been meaning to look at that. I just haven't had time." She had time to photograph Serafina's coffee for Instagram. She had time to comment on 17 of her posts that week, but she didn't have time to open my gift. I set the phone back down and lay flat on the bed, staring at the ceiling. I didn't cry. I just stared. The next morning, I woke up before the sun had fully committed to rising. The sky outside the window was that in-between gray-blue that makes everything look washed out and temporary. I sat up. My neck hurt from sleeping on a pillow that was mostly decorative. I checked my phone. No missed calls. No texts. I counted the money I had left. $270.38. That was it. That was everything. No job, no home, no family calling to check if I was alive. But something about that number, $270.38, made me feel something I hadn't felt in a long time. Clarity. This was rock bottom, and at rock bottom, you can only build up. I got up, brushed my teeth in the tiny bathroom with the sink that dripped every 4 seconds, washed my face with hand soap because I'd forgotten to pack face wash, changed into clean clothes. Then I walked. I didn't have a plan. I just walked toward downtown, following the bus route backward, watching the city wake up around me. Gas stations opening, coffee shops turning on their lights, people in cars heading to jobs they probably hated, but at least they had somewhere to be. About 20 minutes in, I passed a small cafe near the bus depot. It had a chalkboard sign outside that said, "Free Wi-Fi, coffee refills all day, $1.75 small." That was all I needed. Inside, it smelled like burnt toast and that industrial floor cleaner that's supposed to smell like lemons, but mostly just smells like chemicals. There were 4 tables, a counter, and a bathroom with a key attached to a wooden spoon. I ordered the smallest coffee they had, paid with 2 singles, found the table closest to the outlet, and sat down. I pulled out my laptop, a 4-year-old Dell that took 3 minutes to boot up and made a sound like a small airplane taking off whenever I opened more than 2 tabs, but it worked. I opened my email. Then I opened a browser. Then I started searching. Freelance tutoring platforms. SAT prep tutor jobs remote. How to become an online tutor. I'd done this before. Not seriously. Just dabbled. Helped a few kids in my old apartment building with their homework for $20 here and there. But I'd never committed to it. Never thought I was good enough. Never thought anyone would actually pay me. But now I didn't have the luxury of self-doubt. I found 3 platforms, TutorMatch, PrepLearn, and something called Scholar Connect that looked slightly sketchy but had decent reviews. I signed up for all 3. Each one wanted a profile, a bio, a list of subjects, references if I had them. I stared at the empty text boxes. What was I supposed to say? "Hi, I'm Aureline. I have a bachelor's degree I did nothing with and a family that thinks I'm a bad luck charm. Please trust me with your child's education." No. I thought about my grandmother, Delphine. She used to say, when I was a kid and I'd sit with her during Sunday dinners while everyone else talked over each other, "You're the one who listens, Aureline. That's rare. Don't ever think that's not valuable." She saw something in me, not flashy, not loud, but something real. I started typing. About me. I specialize in SAT and ACT prep, writing support, and study planning. I believe in showing up, even when no one else does. My approach is patient, structured, and focused on building confidence alongside knowledge. If your student feels invisible in a classroom, I see them. I read it back. It felt honest, maybe too honest, but I didn't change it. I filled out the rest, uploaded a photo, just a basic headshot I'd taken for a job application 6 months ago. Listed my subjects: English, math through Algebra 2, test prep, essay writing, study skills. Then I hit submit. All 3 platforms. And I waited. By noon, I'd applied to 16 tutoring listings. Parents looking for help with test scores. Students overwhelmed by college applications. Kids who'd fallen behind and needed someone who wouldn't judge them for it. I wrote each message carefully. No copy-paste. I referenced their specific concerns. I kept it short but warm. Hi, I saw your son is struggling with reading comprehension. I'd love to help. I worked with a student last year who went from a 450 to a 620 on the reading section in 3 months. Happy to chat anytime. Your daughter sounds like she's carrying a lot on her shoulders. I get that. Let's lighten the load together. Halfway through the 5th application, I stopped. The cursor blinked on the screen. I read what I'd written. Reliable, compassionate listener. Grandma's voice echoed in my head again. You were always the one who listened. I hadn't thought about her funeral in months. Hadn't let myself. We were standing in the reception hall afterward, one of those church basement situations with folding tables and casseroles people brought because they didn't know what else to do. I was standing by the coffee urn, staring at a tray of brownies, when a woman I barely knew approached me. She was older, maybe 70, one of Grandma's bridge club friends. Your grandmother's second letter was beautiful, she said quietly, touching my arm. I hope it brought you peace. I blinked at her. Second letter? Her face fell, confused. Oh, I thought. She said she wrote you another one. About 8 months before she passed, she showed it to me. Said it was important. My stomach dropped. I only got 1 letter. Oh. The woman looked uncomfortable now, like she'd said something she shouldn't have. I must have been mistaken then. I'm sorry. But she wasn't mistaken. I could see it in her face. I'd asked my mother about it 3 days later, tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, tried to believe there was an explanation. Mom, did Grandma send me another letter before she died? Someone at the funeral mentioned it. My mother didn't even look up from her phone. She was scrolling through Serafina's Instagram, liking posts. Oh, that. It wasn't anything important, just sweet old lady things. Can I see it? I don't know where it is, Oraline. It's probably in a box somewhere. And that was it. End of conversation. The letter had been erased, just like I had been. A ding pulled me back to the present. My laptop screen lit up with a notification. An email from Tutor Match. Parent inquiry. Hi, Oraline. I saw your profile and I'd love to talk. My daughter is a junior and really struggling with SAT prep. She's not a bad student, just anxious. Does that sound like something you can help with? I stared at the message. Then I typed back. Yes, absolutely. When works for you? By the end of the week, I had 3 clients. A high school junior named Riley Torres who needed to bring her SAT score up by 150 points, an adult learner named David who was prepping for his GED after dropping out at 16, and a freshman named Maya whose parents wanted her to get ahead before it was too late. $25 per session, 3 sessions a week per student. That was $225 a week. It wasn't much. But it was mine. It was earned. It was real. The library 2 blocks from the cafe let guests borrow Chromebooks for 2-hour slots. I signed up for afternoon blocks every day. I used them like my life depended on it, because it did. The students showed up. They listened. They asked questions. They said thank you at the end of sessions. Riley told me after our second meeting, "You're the first person who's explained this in a way that actually makes sense. My teacher just talks at us." I felt something crack open inside me. Not pain, something else. Visibility. These strangers saw me in ways my own family never had. That evening, I went back to the Sunrise Inn, room 12. I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out a receipt from my pocket, the one from when I'd checked in. On the back, I started writing. Income/expenses. Week 1, $75 earned, 3 sessions. Motel, $42 per night equals $200, $94 per week. Food, $30. Bus fare, $15 remaining minus $264. The math wasn't pretty. I was bleeding money. But underneath it, I wrote something else. They never noticed what I was building. They never thought I could. It wasn't bitterness. It was clarity. Cold and clean. I lay down on the bed, still wearing my jeans, too wired to sleep. The motel hummed around me, conversations bleeding through thin walls, the vending machine outside groaning every few minutes. Just as I was about to put my phone on silent, a notification popped up. Instagram. Serafina's account. The caption, "Family is who shows up when it matters. Don't ever forget that." The photo showed her and my mother, both holding glasses of champagne, both smiling. I zoomed in on the background, the hallway, the wall. There was a family portrait hanging there, but I wasn't in it. I stared at that photo for 20 minutes. I didn't zoom out. I just kept looking at that wall. At the frame that used to hold a different picture, one from when I was 16, back when everyone still pretended I belonged. Now it was a new photo, glossy, professional. Serafina in the center, of course. My mother on one side, beaming in her cream cardigan. My father on the other, stiff but smiling like someone had reminded him to. Even the dog was in it, Sprout, the golden retriever they got 2 years ago, the one they'd never let me name. It looked like a campaign ad, a Hallmark movie poster, the perfect American family, except I wasn't in it. Not cropped out, not hidden in the background, just gone. They'd erased me, officially, physically, permanently, and then they posted it online with a caption about showing up. I set my phone face down on the nightstand. I didn't cry. I thought maybe I would. Maybe I should. But all I felt was a slow, rising heat in my chest. Not rage. Not quite sadness either. Something quieter, heavier, like watching someone throw away a letter before reading it and realizing the letter was yours. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow, I'd go back to the cafe. Back to my students. Back to building something that was mine, because they could erase me from their photos, but they couldn't erase what I was becoming. Week 2 started the same way week 1 ended. Coffee at the cafe, Chromebook at the library, students who actually listened. Riley Torres came to our 3rd session with her practice test results. She'd gone up 40 points on the reading section. "Oh my God," she said, staring at the screen. "Oh my God, my mom's gonna freak out." Good freak out or bad freak out? Good, definitely good. She looked up at me, eyes shining. "Thank you, seriously. My teacher said I'd never break 500. "Your teacher was wrong." She laughed. Then she paid me through Venmo, $25 that showed up in my account with a little note. "You're amazing, thank you." I closed my laptop and sat there for a minute, just staring at that message. Someone thought I was amazing. A stranger. A 16-year-old kid I'd known for 2 weeks. But my own family couldn't even keep me in a photograph. I shook it off, packed up my things, headed back to the motel. The room share situation had come through. A small bedroom in an apartment 3 miles out, $400 a month. Shared bathroom. My roommate Jada worked night shifts as a nurse, so we'd barely see each other. I could move in next week if I had first month plus deposit. $800. I had 420 saved. Another week and a half and I'd have it. That night, I did something I'd been avoiding. I opened Facebook, not to post, not to reach out, just to look. I scrolled back through my family's posts, through years of photos and status updates and carefully curated moments, and I started noticing things I'd somehow missed before. There was a post from 3 years ago, summer 2023. "Beach week with my favorites!" The photo showed all 4 of them, Mom, Dad, Serafina, and me, standing on the sand at Myrtle Beach. I remembered that trip. Remembered the sunburn I got because I'd forgotten sunscreen. Remembered the seafood restaurant where the waiter forgot my order twice. But when I clicked on the current version of that post, something was different. The photo had been edited. I wasn't in it anymore. I pulled up the original from my own camera roll, the one I'd saved back when it was posted, compared them side by side. Same photo, same composition. But in the current version, the image was cropped, shifted. I'd been cut out so smoothly you'd never know there had been 4 people instead of 3. I kept scrolling. Throwback to Mom's birthday dinner. 4 people became 3. Family movie night. I was gone. Grateful for my tribe. Erased. Post after post after post. Years of memories. Quietly edited. Slowly rewritten. I wasn't being dramatic. I wasn't paranoid. I was being systematically removed from our family history. I opened a new Google Doc, titled it Timeline. Then I started documenting everything. 2019. Easter Sunday post. Originally included me in background. Now cropped out. 2020. Christmas card photo. 4 people in original. Card sent out with 3. 2021. Mom's Blessed with My Girls. Mother's Day post. Caption changed to Blessed with My Girl. Singular. 2022. Family newsletter mentioned my name once. Serafina mentioned 47 times. 2023. New family portrait commissioned. I was not invited to the sitting. I stared at the list. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't oversight. This was intentional. I closed the laptop and lay back on the motel bed. The ceiling still had that water stain. It really did look like a broken heart. Then I remembered something. Grandma Delphine's letter. The one I had gotten after she died. I'd taken a photo of it, saved it to my phone. I pulled it up now, read it for the 100th time. Dearest Orline, you will build what no one sees today. You've always been the architect, never the decoration. Don't let them convince you otherwise. Remember, the world needs people who show up. You've always shown up. All my love, Grandma D. She'd seen me, even when no one else did. But that woman at the funeral had mentioned a second letter, one I never got, one my mother said was nothing important. I sat up, grabbed my phone, scrolled through my contacts until I found the number I'd been avoiding. Aunt Miriam, my mother's sister. They hadn't spoken in 4 years, some fight about money or inheritance or something I was never quite clear on. But Grandma had been close with both of them. If anyone would know about that letter, it'd be Miriam. I hit call before I could talk myself out of it. It rang 4 times. I almost hung up. Then, hello? Aunt Miriam? It's Orline. Silence. Then, Orline? Oh, honey, how are you? Something about the warmth in her voice almost broke me. I'm okay. I know this is random, but I have a question about Grandma. Of course. What is it? Did she mention writing me a second letter before she passed? Another pause, longer this time. Yes, Miriam said carefully. She called me about 6 months before she died. Said she'd written you something important. About, God, what was it? Documents? Legal things? She was worried about making sure you got it. My heart started pounding. Did she say what was in it? Not specifically, but she seemed really concerned. Made me promise that if anything happened to her, I'd make sure you got all her personal papers. Not your mother. You. Did you? I tried, honey. But your mother picked up all of Grandma's mail after she passed. Said she'd sort through everything and distribute it to the family. I assumed she gave you what was yours. I felt my throat tighten. She didn't. Oh, Orline. Miriam's voice dropped. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to ask her about it? No, don't. It's fine. I needed to know I wasn't crazy. You're not crazy. Your grandmother loved you. She wanted you to have something. And if your mother kept it from you... She trailed off. That's not right. We talked for a few more minutes. She asked where I was staying. I lied and said with a friend. She told me to call any time. When I hung up, I felt something solid settle in my chest. The letter existed, and my mother had intercepted it. The question was, why? Gugg. The next day, I went to the library early, before my tutoring sessions, before the cafe even opened. I needed to know what I was missing. Grandma had given me her old iPad years ago, one of those first-generation ones that barely functioned anymore but still held all her emails and photos. I'd kept it charged out of sentiment more than anything. I pulled it out now, logged in. Her email account was still active. I scrolled back, way back, to the months before she died. Most of it was spam, newsletters, forwards from friends. But then I found something, a draft email, never sent, to robert.hansen@hansenlegal.com. Subject, Trust Documents for Oraline. Date, February 14th, 2023, 2 days before Grandma died. Robert, as discussed, I want to ensure the educational trust for my granddaughter Oraline is properly established. The curriculum materials we developed together from 2015 to 2022 should be legally assigned to her. I've attached the draft documents for your review. Please let me know what else you need to finalize this. Best, Delphine. The email was never sent, but it mentioned an attachment. I clicked. The file was still there, a PDF titled Anderson_educational_trust_draft.pdf. I downloaded it, opened it. It was a legal document, dense, full of whereas and hereto and party of the first part. But buried in the middle, I found this. All intellectual property, curriculum materials, teaching frameworks, and digital content created or co-developed with Oraline M. Anderson between January 2015 and December 2022 shall remain under her sole ownership and control. My hands started shaking. Grandma had tried to protect me, legally, in writing, but she died before she could finalize it, which meant I opened a new browser tab, typed Delphine Anderson SAT Prep Curriculum. The first result was Seraphina's Success Academy. I clicked through, looked at the course description, the sample materials, the testimonials. My stomach dropped. It was all there, word for word, diagram for diagram. The study strategies Grandma and I had spent summers developing, the memory techniques I'd illustrated, the practice problems we'd written together, tested on neighborhood kids, refined over years. All of it, under Seraphina's name. I clicked on the About section. The Success Academy curriculum is based on proven methods developed by founder Seraphina Anderson, building on her family's educational legacy. Not a single mention of Grandma. Not a single mention of me. I opened the Wayback Machine, the internet archive that saves old versions of websites. I searched for Success Academy, found the earliest capture, June 2023, 3 months after Grandma died. The original About page read, Curriculum developed by Seraphina Anderson based on materials created with her grandmother, renowned educator Delphine Anderson. There was a second capture from September 2023, Curriculum developed by Seraphina Anderson based on her grandmother Delphine's proven methods. By January 2024, all mention of Grandma was gone too. Curriculum developed by founder Seraphina Anderson. They'd erased both of us. Slowly, methodically, completely. I sat back in the library chair, staring at the screen. This wasn't just about family photos. This wasn't just about being left out. This was theft. Eck. I spent the next 3 days documenting everything. I pulled up the original Google Drive folder Grandma and I had shared. SAT Prep Project 2015 to 2022. It was still there. Every file, every draft, every edit. The revision history showed my name on every single document. Hundreds of edits, thousands of hours. Seraphina's name appeared exactly once. September 2023, changing the header from Created by Delphine Anderson and Oraline Anderson to Success Academy Curriculum. I took screenshots, downloaded everything, backed it up in 3 different places. But there was a problem. Without that trust document finalized, without Grandma's will explicitly stating ownership, I had evidence of creation but no legal claim. Verbal agreements mean nothing. Grandma's intentions mean nothing, not in court. I Googled free legal aid Charlotte NC and found a clinic at UNC Charlotte that offered consultations to low-income residents. I made an appointment for the following week. In the meantime, I kept tutoring, kept showing up, kept building. Riley got her SAT scores back, 1,180, up from 980. Her mom sent me a message. I don't know what you did, but thank you. She's actually excited about college now. David passed his GED. Sent me a selfie with his certificate and the caption, "First person in my family to graduate anything. Thank you for believing in me." Maya's parents referred 3 more students. By the end of week 3, I had 6 clients, $450 a week. I moved into the room share with Jada. It wasn't much, just a bedroom with a twin bed and a dresser that didn't quite close properly, but it had a door that locked and a window that let in actual sunlight. Jada was kind, quiet. She worked 12-hour shifts at the hospital and mostly slept during the day. We'd pass each other in the kitchen sometimes, her coming in as I was leaving or vice versa. She'd ask how I was doing, I'd ask how work was, normal roommate stuff. It felt almost mundane, almost normal. And for the first time in 3 weeks, I let myself think maybe I could build something stable here. Then I got a DM on Instagram from an account I didn't recognize, at truthseeker_anon. The message was short. "You're Oraline Anderson, right? Serafina's sister? I used to work for her. You should know what's really happening." Chunteg. I stared at that message for a full minute before responding. "Who is this?" The reply came immediately. "Someone who saw things I shouldn't have. Can we talk? Not here. Do you have Signal?" Signal, the encrypted messaging app. Whatever this person wanted to tell me, they didn't want anyone else seeing it. I downloaded the app, created an account, sent my username. Within minutes, I got a message. "My name is Keisha Williams. I was an intern at Success Academy for 4 months, unpaid. Serafina said it was for exposure. I quit last week after I found some emails I wasn't supposed to see. Emails about you." My heart started racing. "What kind of emails? Can I call you?" I sent my number. 30 seconds later, my phone rang. "Hello? Oraline?" The voice was young, maybe early 20s, nervous. "Yeah, that's me." "Okay. God, I don't even know where to start." I heard her take a breath. "I worked for your sister starting in September. Social media management, email responses, customer service for the academy. It was supposed to be a learning experience, right? Build my resume, but mostly I just answered angry parents asking for refunds." "Refunds?" "Yeah, the course. It's not good. Like, it's fine, I guess, but it's not worth $500. Parents would email saying their kids weren't improving, asking for their money back, and Serafina would just ignore them. She had a folder literally labeled, "Complaints, Ignore." My stomach twisted. Keisha continued, "But that's not why I'm calling. Last week I was looking for a file in the shared drive and I found a folder called Family Private. I know I shouldn't have opened it, but..." What was in it? Emails. Between your sister and your parents. Going back to early 2023. Right after your grandma died. She paused. "Oraline, they talked about you. About making sure you stayed away during the business launch. About how you'd want credit for the curriculum and they couldn't let that happen." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Can you send them to me?" "I already screenshotted them. I can send them through Signal, but you need to know, they're bad. Like, really bad." "Send them." A few seconds later, my phone started buzzing. Screenshot after screenshot. I opened the first one. From Serafina Anderson to Celestia Anderson. Date, March 15th, 2023. Subject, Academy launch. "Mom, we cannot have Oraline's name anywhere on this. She'll want credit. She'll want money. She'll ruin everything before we even start. Can you make sure she doesn't know about the curriculum we're using?" Reply from Celestia. "Agreed, I'll handle it. Your sister's always been difficult. Better she's out of the picture for now. We can deal with her later if we have to." I opened the next one. From Ronan Anderson to Serafina Anderson. Date, April 3rd, 2023. Subject, business structure. "Your sister called asking about Grandma's papers. I told her everything was with the estate lawyer and there was nothing to worry about. She doesn't need to know about the curriculum transfer. That's our asset now, not hers. Another one. From Celestia Anderson to Ronan Anderson. Date, May 8th, 2023. Subject, the letter. Found another letter from Mom to Oraline. It mentions the trust fund paperwork. I'm not giving this to her. If she doesn't know it exists, she can't claim it. Destroying it today. I read that one 3 times. Destroying it today. My mother had found Grandma's second letter, the one that would have told me about the trust, about my legal rights to the curriculum, and she destroyed it, deliberately. There were more screenshots. Dozens of them. Messages about keeping Oraline in the dark, about protecting the family business, about how I was always jealous and couldn't be trusted. The last one was dated 2 weeks ago. From Serafina Anderson to Celestia Anderson, Ronan Anderson. Subject, problem. Someone on Reddit is asking questions about where the curriculum came from. They're comparing it to other programs and saying it looks plagiarized. We need to shut this down fast. If this traces back to Oraline. Reply from Celestia. It won't. She doesn't have any proof. And even if she did, who would believe her over us? I set the phone down. My hands were shaking. Not from anger, from something deeper. Grief. They hadn't just erased me from photos. They'd erased me from Grandma's legacy, from our shared work, from years of summers spent building something we both loved, and they'd done it knowingly, deliberately, without remorse. Oraline? Keisha's voice came through the phone, small and worried. Are you still there? Yeah, I whispered. I'm here. I'm sorry, I know this is a lot, but I thought you should know. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. She was quiet for a moment. My older sister used to do this to me growing up, take credit for everything I did. My parents always believed her because she was louder, more confident. I know what it feels like to be erased, and when I saw those emails, she trailed off. It wasn't right. Someone needed to tell you. Thank you, I said, and I meant it. After we hung up, I sat on my bed in the small room I was renting, staring at those screenshots. For 27 years, I'd been told I was too sensitive, too dramatic, that I was imagining things. But I wasn't imagining this. This was real. This was proof. They'd stolen from me, erased me, and profited from it. The question was, what was I going to do about it? That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at the tiny desk in my room, laptop open, screenshots spread across the screen. I made a new folder, labeled it Evidence. Inside, I organized everything. Original curriculum files with timestamps, Grandma's draft email about the trust edit history showing my name on every document, screenshots of Serafina's emails, Wayback Machine captures showing the erasure, before/after versions of family photos. It was overwhelming, but it was also undeniable. Around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. A notification from Instagram. Serafina had posted. The photo showed her at a desk, laptop open, looking stressed but determined. The caption read, "Building a business isn't easy. There are always people who want to tear down what you've created. But I won't let the haters win. Success Academy is built on hard work, family legacy, and authentic education. If you're a student or parent who's benefited from our program, drop a heart below. Let's drown out the negativity with gratitude." The comments were already rolling in, hundreds of them. You're amazing! Don't listen to the trolls. Your program changed my daughter's life. But there were other comments too, newer ones. Why is your curriculum identical to materials on Khan Academy? Someone on Reddit posted a side-by-side comparison. This looks plagiarized. Where did these materials actually come from? I clicked through to Reddit, found the thread. Is Serafina Anderson's Success Academy a scam? Side-by-side comparison. Someone had taken screenshots of her course and compared them to free resources online. Khan Academy, College Board prep guides, and buried in the comments, someone had posted, "Fun fact, Her grandmother used to run an SAT prep program in Charlotte. Wonder if that's where these materials came from. Convenient timing that she launched this right after her grandma died. The thread had 2,000 upvotes, and it was growing. I closed Reddit, closed Instagram, closed my laptop. This wasn't me. I hadn't started this, but it was happening anyway. The truth was coming out, with or without me. I lay back on my bed, staring at the ceiling. My phone started buzzing. Once, twice, 3 times. I picked it up. Missed call. Serafina Anderson. Missed call. Celestia Anderson. Missed call. Ronan Anderson. Then a voicemail notification. I almost didn't listen. Almost. But I pressed play. Serafina's voice came through, high-pitched and panicked. "Oraline, we need to talk. Like, right now. There's some stuff online and people are saying crazy things and I need you to help me fix this. Call me back, please." Delete. Next voicemail. My mother. "Oraline, I don't know where you are or what you're doing, but your sister is in crisis. This is serious. We need you. Call us back." Delete. My father. "Your sister's business is being attacked online. We don't know who's behind it, but we need to present a united family front. Call when you get this." Delete. I set the phone down. They needed me. After 3 weeks of silence, after years of erasure, after destroying Grandma's letter and stealing my work and cutting me out of every photo and every memory. Now they needed me. Now I mattered. The phone buzzed again, and again, and again. By morning, I had 14 missed calls. 14. I didn't call back. I just got up, made coffee, and opened my laptop. It was time to decide. What kind of person was I going to be? I stared at those 14 missed calls for 2 hours before I did anything. Not because I was conflicted. Not because I felt guilty, but because I needed to be sure. Once I did this, once I spoke, there was no going back. No pretending. No quiet fade into the background like I'd always done. This would be permanent. I thought about Grandma, about sitting at her kitchen table on Sunday afternoons, helping her grade practice tests while she made sweet tea and told me stories about teaching in the 70s when nobody thought girls needed college prep. "The truth doesn't need volume, Oraline," she'd said once. "It just needs to be said, clearly, without apology." I opened my laptop, pulled up my phone camera, and I started recording. The video was 11 minutes long. No edits, no script. Just me, my evidence, and the truth. I sat in my small rented room with the afternoon light coming through the window behind me, making everything look washed out and honest. "My name is Oraline Anderson," I started. My voice was steady, calmer than I expected. "You might know my sister, Serafina. She runs something called the Success Academy, and I need to tell you where that curriculum actually came from." I showed the timeline, the family photos before and after. Me, present in the originals. Me, erased in the current versions. "This is what erasure looks like," I said. "Not dramatic, just methodical. You don't notice it happening until you're already gone." Then I showed the curriculum, side by side. The original files with timestamps, my name in the edit history, hundreds of revisions, thousands of hours. My grandmother and I created this together, from 2015 to 2022. Every summer, every weekend I could spare. We built something we were proud of. I showed Grandma's draft email, the trust document, the evidence of her intention. She tried to protect me legally. She died before she could finish the paperwork. Then Keisha's screenshots, the emails, the deliberate planning, the destruction of the second letter. My voice didn't shake when I read them aloud. I didn't cry. I just stated facts. "I'm not here for revenge," I said, looking directly into the camera. "I'm here because truth matters. I'm here because students who paid $500 for this course deserve to know it wasn't created by the person who's taking credit for it. I'm here because I spent 27 years being invisible in my own family, and I'm not going to be invisible anymore." I paused. If you're watching this and you've ever felt erased, by your family, by your job, by people who were supposed to love you, I see you. You're not invisible. You're not too sensitive. You're not imagining it. See ya. I showed one last thing, the letter from Grandma that I had received. She told me I was an architect, not decoration. She was right. I've been building something new, something mine, something no one can take from me. I looked at the camera one more time. Thank you for listening. I stopped recording, uploaded it to YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, titled it The Truth About Success Academy and What Erasure Really Looks Like. Added tags, hashtag family betrayal, hashtag education, fraud, hashtag intellectual property, hashtag truth matters. Then I closed my laptop and went to sleep. Whatever happened next, I'd said what needed to be said. Bad. I woke up to 847 notifications. My phone was buzzing so violently it had vibrated itself halfway off the nightstand. The video had 50,000 views. And climbing. The comments were flooding in faster than I could read them. This is heartbreaking. I'm so sorry you went through this. I paid $500 for that course. I want a refund. Her sister is a fraud. This happened to me with my brother. Thank you for speaking up. Sending this to everyone I know. This needs to go viral. But there were other comments too. Clout chaser. You're just jealous of your sister's success. This is so fake. Where's the proof? Oh, wait. You could have faked all of it. Tearing down women to get attention. Disgusting. Family drama should stay private. This is pathetic. I felt my chest tighten. My hands started shaking. Jada knocked on my door. Orline, you okay? I heard your phone going crazy. I opened the door. She took one look at my face and came inside. What's wrong? I showed her the video, the comments, the numbers that kept climbing. 50,000 people have seen this, I whispered. What did I do? You told the truth. She sat down next to me on the bed. That's all? You told the truth. People are calling me a liar, saying I faked everything, saying I'm just jealous. Some people will always say that, but look, she scrolled through the comments. For every bad one, there are 20 supporting you. Look at this one. I'm an intellectual property lawyer, and this is textbook theft. And this, former student here. The course was terrible. Now I know why. And this, my sister did the same thing to me. I never had the courage to speak up. Thank you. I read the comments she was pointing to, then more and more. Educators were backing me up. Students were demanding refunds. Other people who'd been erased by their families were sharing their own stories. The video hit 100,000 views by noon. A local news outlet sent me a DM. Would you be willing to do an interview? Then another. We'd love to feature your story on our education fraud segment. Then another. You're trending on Twitter. Can we get a quote? My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Orline Anderson? Yes? This is Janet Reeves. I'm an intellectual property attorney here in Charlotte. I saw your video. I'd like to help you. Pro bono. I sat down. What? What happened to you is textbook IP theft. You have documentation, you have evidence, and I have 20 years of experience taking cases like this. If you're interested, I'd like to represent you. I can't afford. Pro bono means free. I'm offering because what they did was wrong, and because I think we can win. I closed my eyes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. We scheduled a meeting for the next day. By evening, the video had 300,000 views. Serafina's Instagram was being flooded. Her follower count was dropping. 75,000 became 60,000, became 50,000. The Success Academy website was down, overloaded with refund requests, and my phone wouldn't stop ringing. 14 more calls from my family. I didn't answer any of them, but I listened to the voicemails. The first few were angry. How could you do this? You're destroying us. This is unforgivable. The middle ones were desperate. Please, Orline, we can fix this. Just talk to us. The last one was from my mother. Her voice was different, quieter, broken. I know you're angry. I know we hurt you, but please, just let us explain. Just give us a chance. I saved that one. Not because I was ready to forgive, but because it was the first time she'd ever admitted they'd hurt me. 3 days later, there was a knock on the apartment door. Jada was at work. I was alone. I looked through the peephole. My stomach dropped. All 3 of them. Ronan, Celestia, Serafina, they'd found me. I thought about not answering, just staying quiet until they left, but I'd been quiet my whole life. I opened the door. Didn't invite them in, just stood there in the doorway. My mother looked like she'd aged 5 years in 3 weeks. Her makeup was smudged. Her hair wasn't styled. She was wearing sweatpants. My father looked smaller somehow, shoulders hunched, eyes red. Serafina looked like she'd been crying for days. Her skin was blotchy. Her famous eyeliner was gone. None of them looked like the polished, perfect family from the photos. They looked human and desperate. "Aureline," my mother started. Her voice cracked. "Please, can we talk?" "We're talking." "Inside? Please?" I hesitated, then stepped aside. They filed in, stood awkwardly in the small living room. Nobody sat. "You destroyed us," Serafina said immediately. Her voice was raw. "Do you know that? The business is dead. I've lost 40,000 followers. People are sending me death threats." "I stated facts," I said calmly. "You made me look like a criminal. You stole Grandma's work. That's literally criminal." "It was family work," she was yelling now. "It belonged to all of us." "Then where was my name, Serafina? Where was I in any of it?" She didn't have an answer. My father stepped forward. "It was complicated, Aureline. The business, we needed it. We were drowning financially. $67,000 in debt, about to lose the house. When your grandmother died and left those materials, we saw a way out." "So you erased me to save yourselves?" "We were going to include you eventually," my mother said quickly. "Once things stabilized, once we had enough money to pay off the debt and bring you in as a partner." "By erasing me from family photos?" My voice rose. "By telling people I was unstable? By destroying Grandma's letter to me?" Celestia flinched. "That's what this is really about, isn't it?" I continued. "The second letter. The one that told me about the trust fund, about my legal rights to the curriculum. You destroyed it because if I knew, I could claim what was mine." "We were desperate," my mother's voice broke. "You don't understand. We were going to lose everything. The house, our credit, our entire lives. We made bad choices because we were scared. So you sold my inheritance? My relationship with Grandma? My existence?" Silence. Then Ronan spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "We thought we could fix it later. We thought once we were stable we could make it right. We didn't realize how far we'd gone until I held up a mirror," I finished. More silence. Serafina sat down on the couch, put her head in her hands. "I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I was 21 when Grandma died, and Mom and Dad said we could build something with her materials, and I didn't think about where they came from or who made them. I wanted to help. I wanted to be successful. I didn't think about you." "You never thought about me," I said quietly. "None of you did. I was invisible long before Grandma died." My mother started crying. "That's not true. We love you. We've always loved you. You have a funny way of showing it." "We made mistakes," Celestia said, tears streaming down her face. "We were wrong. We were so wrong. But we're your family. Doesn't that mean anything?" I looked at her, really looked at her, at all of them. They looked broken, genuinely remorseful. But was remorse enough? "What do you want from me?" I asked. Serafina looked up. "Help us fix this. Tell people it was a misunderstanding, that we're working it out as a family. Make a video saying you've reconciled with us." "So I should lie?" "It's not lying. We are family. We can work this out. Make you co-owner of whatever comes next. Give you credit. Pay you back." "With what money? The business is dead. You said it yourself." Nobody answered. My father finally spoke. "What do you want, Aureline? Money? A public apology?" "What will make this right?" I thought about it, really thought about it. I want you to leave, I said finally. Oraline, I want you to leave, and I want you to think about why you're really here. Are you here because you're sorry you hurt me? Or are you here because you're sorry you got caught? Celestia opened her mouth to protest. Don't answer now, I continued. Think about it. Really think about it. Because I've spent 27 years being your invisible daughter, your scapegoat, your afterthought, and I'm done. I'm done being small so you can feel big. We're your family, my mother whispered. You cut me out of the family years ago. You just didn't bother to tell me. I walked to the door, opened it. I think you should go. They didn't move at first. Then Ronan stood, touched Celestia's shoulder. She stood too, still crying. Serafina was the last to stand. She looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. I really am sorry, for what it's worth. It's worth something, I said. Just not enough. Not yet. They left. I closed the door, locked it, and then I collapsed against it and cried. Not from sadness, not from anger, from relief, because I'd said everything I needed to say, and I'd survived it. The lawsuit came 2 weeks later. They were suing me for defamation, claiming I'd knowingly spread false information to damage their reputation and business. Janet called me as soon as she received the notice. This is a scare tactic, she said. They have no case. Your video was factual and backed by evidence. But I need to ask, how do you want to handle this? We can fight it in court. It'll take time, maybe 2 years, but we'll win. Or we can see if they're open to settlement. If they drop the suit, you drop your potential counterclaims. Clean slate. What would that look like? They'd probably want an NDA, non-disparagement agreement. You wouldn't be able to talk publicly about any of this anymore. In exchange, they'd acknowledge your contribution to the curriculum and potentially offer financial compensation. I sat with that for a long moment. Can I think about it? Of course. Take your time. But Oraline? Whatever you decide, make sure it's what you want. Not what will make them happy. Not what will end this fastest. What will give you peace. That night, I walked through Charlotte. Down the streets I'd walked 3 weeks ago when I first left. Past the motel, past the cafe, past the library. I thought about Grandma teaching me chess when I was 9. The best move isn't always the most aggressive one, she'd said. Sometimes the best move is the one that gives you the most options later. Don't sacrifice your queen for a pawn, even when you're tired. I got back to the apartment around 10, made myself tea, sat at my desk. Then I called Janet. I want to make them an offer, I said. Okay. What are you thinking? 4 terms, non-negotiable. I heard her pick up a pen. Go ahead. 1. Full public acknowledgement, not just contribution. They state clearly that the curriculum was co-created by Delphine Anderson and Oraline Anderson, that Serafina rebranded and marketed existing materials. Good. What else? 2. $40,000. That's roughly what they profited from the business before it collapsed. I want it in cash, paid within 90 days. They might not have that kind of liquid capital. They can take a loan against the house, or sell it, their choice. Brutal, but fair. Continue. 3. No NDA. I keep the right to tell my story. They can't silence me. They won't like that. I don't care what they like. Janet laughed. I love it. And 4? I took a breath. 4. They all enter family therapy. Real therapy. Not mediation. Not a few sessions. 6 months minimum. And they have to complete it. Silence on the other end. That's unconventional, Janet said slowly. And unenforceable. We can't legally compel them to go to therapy. Then make it a condition of the settlement. If they don't complete 6 months of therapy, the money reverts back to them and I retain the right to pursue damages. You'd give up $40,000 if they don't go to therapy? Yes. Why? Because money won't fix them, or us. But maybe accountability will. Maybe looking at themselves in a room where they can't perform or deflect will. And if they refuse, then I'll know they were never really sorry. Janet was quiet for a long moment. Then, You're either the most forgiving person I've ever met, or the most strategic. I can't tell which. Can't it be both? Yes. Yes, it can. I heard papers rustling. I'll draft the proposal. Should have something to send to their attorney by end of week. Thank you, Janet. Thank you for trusting me with this. After we hung up, I pulled out my laptop and opened my tutoring schedule. 9 students now, $600 a week. Riley had gotten into her top choice college with a partial scholarship. She'd sent me a photo of the acceptance letter with the message, "None of this happens without you." David had enrolled in community college. Starting in January, Maya's parents had asked if I'd consider expanding to SAT boot camps. I was building something. Slowly. Mine. The settlement took 3 weeks to negotiate. They countered with $30,000 and therapy optional. I said no. They countered with $35,000 and 3 months of therapy. I said no. Finally, they agreed. All 4 terms, signed and notarized. The money would be wired in 3 installments. The public statement would go up on Serafina's remaining platforms within 48 hours. Therapy would begin within 2 weeks. The statement, when it was finally posted, was short. I want to address recent allegations regarding the Success Academy curriculum. The materials were originally co-created by my late grandmother, Delphine Anderson, and my sister, Aureline Anderson, between 2015 and 2022. I adapted and marketed these existing materials without proper attribution or acknowledgement. This was wrong. I apologize to my sister, to our students, and to anyone who felt misled. The Success Academy is permanently closed. Refunds are being processed. The comments were mixed, some supportive, some skeptical, some just sad. But it was there, in writing, permanent. I'd been made visible again, hey. 6 months later, I was sitting in my new apartment, a real 1-bedroom with a kitchen that had a dishwasher and a living room where I could actually fit a couch, when a package arrived. No return address, just my name and the apartment number. I opened it carefully. Inside was a single envelope, cream-colored, expensive paper, and a note, handwritten on a small card. Found this in a storage unit I was cleaning out. Thought you should have it. Aunt Miriam. My hands started shaking before I even opened the envelope, because I knew what it was. The second letter. I sat down on my couch, took a breath, opened it. Grandma's handwriting. Shaky but clear. Dearest Aureline, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm hoping my lawyer followed through with the trust, but knowing my daughter, she might make this difficult. So, I'm giving you this as backup, as proof. Account number 4789B at First Federal Bank. $50,000. Set aside for you when you turn 28 or when you're ready to start your own educational venture, whichever comes first. It's yours. Legally, indisputably yours. Your mother doesn't have access. Your father doesn't have access. Only you. I made sure of it. Use it wisely. Use it to build something beautiful, something that can't be taken from you. You've always been the architect, never the decoration. Don't let them convince you otherwise. All my love. Always, Grandma D. I read it 3 times. Then I pulled out my phone and Googled First Federal Bank Charlotte. Found the number. Called. First Federal, how can I help you? Hi, I think I might have an account there. I'm not sure. The number is 4789B. Clicking sounds. Typing. Can I get your name and date of birth? I gave them. More typing. Yes, Ms. Anderson. Account established March 2023 under a trust in your name. Current balance is $53,420. The room tilted. I'm sorry, what? $53,420. The account was established with a $50,000 deposit and has been accruing interest for 3 years. Would you like to access it? Yes. Yes, I would. They walked me through the verification process, asked security questions, confirmed my identity. The money was real. The account was real. It had been sitting there since Grandma died. While my family told me there was no inheritance, while they destroyed her letter, while they used her materials to build their business, the money had been there the whole time. I could have sued them again. taken them back to court for fraud and concealment of assets. But I didn't. Instead, I sat down at my laptop and created a new bank account. The Delphine Anderson Memorial Scholarship Fund. I transferred $40,000 into it, left $10,000 for myself. Emergency fund, safety net. The rest would go to students who couldn't afford SAT prep, students from invisible families who needed someone to see them. First recipient, Riley Torres. Full ride to her prep program for the SAT 2 subject tests. I called my students' parents, told them about the fund, asked if they knew anyone who needed help. Within a week, I had 15 applications. I read each one carefully, picked 5 students to start. Then I called Janet. Remember how you said I was either the most forgiving person or the most strategic? I remember. I think I'm something else. What's that? Free. Again. I saw my family one more time, 4 months into their therapy. They'd asked through their therapist if I'd be willing to come to a session. A family integration session, she called it. I almost said no, but then I thought about Grandma, about building, about not letting fear make my decisions. So I went. The therapy office was in a quiet part of town, soft lighting, comfortable chairs, a woman in her 50s named Dr. Patricia Morrison. They were already there when I arrived, sitting separately, not talking. They looked different. My mother's hair was shorter. My father had lost weight. Serafina wasn't wearing makeup. Dr. Morrison welcomed me in, asked me to sit wherever I felt comfortable. I chose the chair closest to the door. "Thank you for coming, Oraline," Dr. Morrison said. "Your family has been doing a lot of work these past few months, processing, acknowledging patterns. Today, they'd like to share some of that with you, if you're comfortable listening." I nodded. My mother went first. "I've been learning about something called scapegoating," she said quietly. It's when a family unconsciously assigns one person to carry all the blame, all the negativity. It's a way of avoiding looking at the real problems. She looked at me. "You were our scapegoat, Oraline, from the time you were young. And I did that. I made you small so I didn't have to deal with my own failures." I didn't say anything, just listened. My father spoke next. "I was angry for so long, about losing my job, about being broke, about feeling like a failure, and it was easier to be silent when your mother and sister blamed you than to admit I felt powerless." He paused. "I abandoned you, and I'm sorry." Serafina was last. I got so much attention for being the success, and somewhere along the way, I started believing I deserved it more than you, that I was more important, that you were just in the way. Her voice cracked. "I don't know who I am without that anymore, without being the favorite, the special one. I'm having to build a whole new identity and it's terrifying, but I'm doing it, and I want you to know I'm trying." Dr. Morrison looked at me. "Oraline, would you like to respond?" I thought about it. "I don't forgive you," I said finally. "Not yet. Maybe not ever. I don't know." My mother's face fell. "But," I continued, "I appreciate that you're trying. I appreciate that you're looking at yourselves honestly. That's more than I thought you'd ever do." "Is there anything you need from us?" Dr. Morrison asked gently. "Time," I said, "and space. And for you to keep doing this work without expecting anything from me. No pressure, no timelines, no demands." They nodded. We talked for another 30 minutes. It was hard, messy. There were tears, but it was also human. When I left, I didn't hug any of them, but I didn't slam the door either. I just left it open, a crack, not for them, for me, because I was done letting them determine my worth, my visibility, my story. A year after I made that first video, I was invited to speak at a conference for educators. They wanted me to talk about non-traditional teaching, about reaching invisible students. I said yes. The room was packed. Maybe 200 people, teachers, tutors, administrators. I stood at the podium and looked out at them. "My name is Orline Anderson," I said, "and I spent most of my life being invisible." I told them about being erased, about Grandma, about building something new from nothing. "The students who need us most are usually the ones we don't see," I said. "The quiet ones, the ones who've been told they're too much or not enough or in the way. They're not looking for saviors, they're looking for witnesses, someone who will see them, really see them." After the talk, dozens of people came up to me, shared their own stories of erasure, of building in silence, of finally being seen. A young teacher, maybe 25, said, "I was the invisible kid in my family. Your video, it made me feel less alone. Thank you." I hugged her. "You were never alone. You were just waiting for your moment." That night, I posted a photo on Instagram. Just me, in front of the conference banner, smiling. The caption, "They tried to erase me. I became unforgettable." It got 50,000 likes, including one from Serafina. No comment, just a like. I stared at that notification for a long time. Then I closed the app and went to sleep, because her acknowledgement didn't define me anymore. I'd already defined myself. The Delphine Anderson Memorial Scholarship Fund grew, slowly at first, then faster as word spread. We helped 30 students in the first year, then 50, then 80. Students who'd been told they weren't college material, students whose families couldn't afford test prep, students who just needed someone to believe in them. Every thank you note I received, I saved. One from a girl named Sophia. "You were the first person who told me I could do it. I believed you. Now I'm going to USC on a full ride." Another from a boy named DeAndre. "My family said college was for other people. You showed me I could be one of those people. Thank you." I hung them on my wall, next to Grandma's letter, next to the settlement agreement, next to a photo of me and Riley on her college move-in day. This was my family now, chosen, built, mine. Last week, I received a text from my mother. "Your father and I finished therapy. We're doing better. Slower, more honest. I know you don't want to hear from us, but I wanted you to know we're still trying." I didn't respond immediately, but I didn't delete it either. Progress, I guess. This morning, I made coffee in my kitchen, sat on my couch with my laptop, opened my tutoring schedule. 12 students this week, $800. Not rich, but stable. Mine. My phone buzzed. An email from a student I'd worked with 2 years ago, back when I was still figuring things out, back in the motel room days. "Hi, Orline. I don't know if you remember me. I was one of your first students. You helped me pass my GED when I was ready to give up. I just wanted you to know I graduated from community college last week. Associate's degree in education. I'm going to be a teacher. Because of you. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible." I read it 3 times, then I printed it, added it to my wall. This is what freedom looks like. Not the absence of family, not the absence of pain, but the presence of choice, the presence of truth, the presence of a life I built myself, brick by brick, in the silence they thought would bury me. I pulled out a fresh piece of paper, wrote down Grandma's words one more time. "You will build what no one sees today." Then I added my own. "And when they finally see it, it will be too beautiful to deny." I don't know if my family and I will ever truly reconcile. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but I'm okay with that uncertainty now, because I'm not waiting for their permission to exist anymore. I exist because I choose to. I matter because I say I do. And no one, no family, no system, no voice in my head can erase that. If you've ever been invisible, I see you. If you've ever been erased, you're still here. If you've ever wondered if you matter, you do. Build something they can't take from you. Build it anyway.